Hi, it's Mike with AskTractorMike.com. I don't know whether you can tell it or not, but in back of me is a pretty good little slope. And it's not very big. They probably made it when they built our house, which is right over here. But every time I get on that, it's enough of a slope when I'm trying to drive across it. It scares me a little bit. The tractor feels a little bit tippy. And tractor rollover is a big problem, and we're going to talk about that today. If you bought your first tractor, or if you've been running tractors for 50 years, stay with me. I'm going to tell you some things that impact how stable you are on slopes and answer 2 letters today, and we're going to cover a lot of ground. Let's get to our letters. First letter today came from Jason, and Jason says, I bought a nice Massey 35 tractor, older Massey tractor, and can't find a ROPS for it anywhere. ROPS is Rollover Protection System, a roll bar. And we'll talk about surviving a rollover with a roll bar and how much better your chances are with a roll bar. He says, I'll be bush hogging with it and tilling with it. Where can I find a ROPS? We'll answer that question. Second question today comes from Roberto. And Roberto says, I have a steep hill that I want to bush hog. If I send you a picture, can you tell me if I'll be safe on it? I get these questions all the time, and Roberto, you can send me a picture. I'll admire your place and everything, but I'm not going to be able to tell you if you can safely go on it because there are a lot of things that influence that. So first today, I'm going to tell you, if you got an older tractor and you want a ROPS or a roll bar, how you can go about getting it. And they may be available. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to go over a dozen things you may or may not know that influence tractor rollover to try to keep you safe on a slope. So let's talk first about roll bars. If you've tried to get a roll bar for an older tractor, and they are available, there's companies that make them, you may have called your local dealership and said, I want a roll bar, and you can immediately feel the salesperson's enthusiasm go down the toilet. And I was in a dealership for 11 years, and I quoted several roll bars, and I never sold one. And the reason was people would call and say, I need a roll bar for an 8N or my old Farmall or an Alice WD. I've got some places I'm worried about and I want to stay safe. Well, I could find the price pages and go in and find the price of the roll bar, and then you got to figure freight, and roll bars are darned expensive to ship. And I could get them a price, and almost always the price of the roll bar, when you figured everything, the freight and installing it and everything, would be more than the older tractor was worth, and I never sold one. But now let's say you found a really nice Massey 35 and you want to keep it for a while. It runs good, it's simple, easy to work on, but you want to be safe. Well, the first question I asked Jason is, where do you live? Because in certain parts of the country there's cost share money available that will help you pay for that roll bar, and that really helps out. And I'm going to give you a website to go to find out if cost share money is available for you. But if you've got one of these older tractors and you want a roll bar, there has been an effort around the country to get money available to help you buy a roll bar. And generally it's funded by the Department of Agriculture in the state where you're at. Now, unfortunately, Jason lives in southern Illinois. It's kind of a hilly area. I've been across it many times. There's a flat part of Illinois where they don't need roll bars, maybe, and then where Jason lives, where you could tip a tractor over. And Illinois does not have that program. Now, there's areas in the northeastern United States that have it, and they seem to be fairly well funded, but it varies from year to year depending on the budget situation of the state. And there was an effort in Kentucky, Tennessee, along that area to get money. And just to tell you, the best thing for me to do is tell you to go to this website, ROPS4U.org, and fill out the application. That's ROPS, R, the number 4, and then U, the letter U.org. And fill out the application, and that'll tell you if money's available to help you. Another place you can go for information on roll bars is the University of Kentucky's website. And it's got a lot of information about different roll bars for different tractors. It even has gray market tractors listed. So if you want to find out more about whether or not a roll bar is available for your tractor, go to this website And I'll put a link in the description below you can click on, and it'll take you right there. So to give you a little bit of background about this funding available for a roll bar installation on older tractors, there's been a consortium of folks from the academic community, like University Extension, and some healthcare type people, I think, and some people that have been involved in OSHA and occupational safety. And they have been trying to put this consortium together to get some of these older tractors retrofitted. My perception is there's been little pockets in the country where they've really put a lot of effort into this. And as far as the nationwide effort goes, some areas they've done pretty well, and some areas they don't, and it varies from year to year. I think a tremendous thing for the tractor companies to do would be to come to the table and fund this. You know, Deere, AGCO, Massey, New Holland, Case, and say, hey, we care enough about our customers that we'll pay half of the cost of putting a roll bar on one of these older tractors. Be a great PR move, and especially in a year where I think they're doing pretty well financially. That'd be a tremendous move. Anybody out there listening? Come to the table with some money, help this out. Now in Jason's situation, I found another Jason at a company called Sierra Tractor in California. And Jason is tickled to sell roll bars, and he sells a lot of them, and he'll help you out. And I'm going to put Jason's phone number here on the screen. If you're looking for a roll bar, call Jason, and he'd love to talk to you. And he can get most roll bars from most older tractors, regardless of the brand. Jason works at Sierra Tractor. They're a Massey dealer, but they have access to some other roll bars too, and Jason is not afraid to help you. So if you're looking for an older roll bar, there's where you go. Now next to today, I'm going to tell you 12 things that impact, to answer Roberto's question, how steep a slope you can go on. Number one is you need your tractor properly ballasted. And at the very least, if you're on slopes, get fluid in your tires. That puts weight down low to keep you stable. And I've done tons of videos on that. I'm not going to go into it any deeper right now, but there's lots of fluids you can use, and certain fluids are heavier than others. So you want to know all that. Number two, speed really dictates safety on hills. Slower you go, the less chance of a rollover there is. Number three, keep your load low. If you're carrying a round bale or if you're carrying a load in your bucket along a side slope, keep that load as low as you can. The higher it is, the higher your center of gravity, the greater chance for rollover. Number four, know your property. If you're just moved out to the country and you don't know your property that well, in the winter, when all the foliage is off, walk that property and look for holes. If you're on a side hill and that front wheel goes down in a hole, it can roll you over quickly. And that could be a big hole where a tree stump has been bulldozed out, or it can be a groundhog hole. So know your property. Number five, maintain your equipment, and especially the tires. The less tread on the tires, the more unstable you are on slopes. So when the tires are starting to get worn, replace them. Number six, if you're on a hill, sometimes you can split the brakes, and this is really for the more experienced operators. Most of your brakes on most tractors have a bar that goes across them, and if you pull that bar, turn it over, it'll separate the brakes, so you'll have the capacity to brake with either the left brake or the right brake. And when you're trying to keep that tractor on a hill, sometimes braking with the uphill brake will help you maintain that tractor and keep it stable. Number seven, the weather can have a major impact on your stability, and especially dew. If you get a little moisture on a hill, what you went over yesterday with no problem, you could slide down today. So watch your weather conditions and avoid driving on side hills when it's wet from rain or dew. Number eight, be real careful about driving over cut crop. Let's say you've bush hogged an area and then you want to drive over the side hill. Sometimes that crop, especially if there's moisture there, can help you slide down. So don't drive on cut crop. Number nine, if you've got a 3-point mounted implement that is offset, you want to keep it on the uphill side. Let's say you've got a disc mower. If you keep that on the uphill side, that's trying to keep you stable. If you put it on the downhill side, and especially if you try to raise it, that's trying to tip you over. So keep your offset equipment on the uphill side. Number 10, maintain your focus. A lot of farm accidents happen when one of two things is going on. Number one, we're trying to get jobs done quickly, so we're rushing. Haste is a big problem. Or number two, when we're fatigued. And a lot of us combine those and get in trouble quickly. If you've got a job in town and you're working on your acreage on a weekend and you just have a few hours to get it done and you're thinking about the day job and you're a little bit tired because you've worked all week, that's a recipe for disaster. Number 11, there may be places on your property where you just don't want to go. This place behind me, if there's a little dew on the ground, I'll back up it. And you may want at the very least to back up it, but if it's an extreme slope, you may just not want to go there. I tell my people, if you're worried about tipping over the tractor, it's not worth it. Don't go there. Get some wildflower seeds and scatter up there, or just leave it for the wildlife. It's not going to kill anybody if you don't get every foot of your property brush hogged. Now for number 12 today, I want to read you some statistics. And the last statistic is the most important. First off, agriculture ranks in the top 3 or 4 of most dangerous occupations. And we're actually, us hobby farmers, guys that don't farm for a living and have less experience with equipment, are probably in more danger than an actual farmer is. So we, number one, are in an area that is really dangerous to begin with. But listen to this. 80% of farming accidents happen around machinery. 75% of those accidents happen around tractors. And 60% of those accidents are rollover related. So being on a tractor is dangerous on the hills. Now the last statistic I'll give you today, and this is the most important. If you have a functioning roll bar and the seat belt fastened, you have a better than 99% chance of surviving a rollover. If you don't, that goes way down quickly. I get a lot of comments every time I do one of these safety videos from first responders in rural areas, paramedics and firemen that have to go out and rescue people that are trapped underneath equipment, and it is not pretty. Usually what happens, you roll the tractor over, you could be there for hours, it could be your family that finds you, and it's the first responders that have to get that tractor off of you, and generally you are maimed or dead, and it's really not worth it. Think of the medical expenses if you survive that you'll have, and you could prevent it by putting that seatbelt on and having that functioning roll bar over the top of you. So guys, stay safe. I don't want to lose any viewers. It's dangerous, but you take precautions, you can stay safe. And in the awful event that you roll a tractor over and you survive, remember to turn that engine off. They don't run too good upside down for very long. Appreciate you watching my videos. If you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'd be honored. Click the mic face icon and check the bell so you're notified when I post future videos. Here's a link to my website and the Tractor Fun Store with unique items for the tractor owner that help support my channel. And here's another video you might want to watch. Thanks for watching.